They be sued for an image so crude. Well, an explicit porno mag has done something explicitly porno. Yep, a recent issue of Hustler. Oh, wow. Photoshopped conservative commentator S.C. Cupp engaging in a sex act under the headline Celebrity Fantasy. The piece carries a disclaimer saying no image of her performing this act actually exists and it's intended for fantasy purposes. So I guess it's all good. The mag addresses her righty politics, noting, quote, S.C. Cupp is a lovely young lady who read too much Ayn Rand in high school and ended up joining the dark side. But her hotness is diminished when she espouses dumb ideas like defunding Planned Parenthood. What a bunch of... On Wednesday, S.C. discussed the controversy with Glenn Beck.
It's just embarrassing because, as you say, it will be out there forever. And, you know, the fact that I work really hard and am an Ivy League educated young woman with a pretty good job, it doesn't matter when you look at a photo like this.
She also talked about how Hustler sliming her for disagreeing with her politics was actually refreshing.
And I have to commend that as being incredibly honest. And there are people in the media who perform this kind of misogyny on women like me who cannot be that honest.
Meanwhile, Hustler's publisher, Larry Flint, he's still alive, issued this statement. Articulate as always. Bernie, I will say this. S.C. Cupp gives Hustler, what do you call it? I hate to use the word props, but I am. Because saying that why they're debasing her, which is what the media doesn't do. I mean, at least they're saying they don't, they're smearing her because of her beliefs.
Well, well, look, it's another manifestation of the left's disdain and hatred for conservative women. We saw it with Sarah Palin. We've seen it time immemorial. We've seen it throughout the ages. But the thing about it is that if they didn't call attention to it, nobody would know. The only people who read Hustler magazine are trailer trash and reprobates like me, who have an office where the company obstructs your access to porn when you want to, you know, take a nap at lunch and close the door. So they would never know. Nobody would know about it. And by the way, they've been doing this for years and years.
Yeah. The thing is, though, I mean, they have been doing this. It's a twisted magazine. I mean, they used to have. Well, I won't get into it. Sandra.
Oh, to Sandra.
Yeah. No. Okay. This picture could be on the internet forever and could be viewed without the context of the article, meaning that that thing could show up. Let's not show it anymore. Yeah. Please take it away. Could be viewed without context, meaning you don't know that it's made up. Shouldn't I mean? Why can't she sue? Why can't this be defamation? If it's words, it could be defamation, but if pictures, it's not.
I'm not going to recall the name of the preacher gentleman down south where there's a Supreme Court case that was he brought it upon the Supreme Court. Supreme Court ruled that the First Amendment right has that it was Hustler that was
Larry Flint.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And Larry Flint and Hustler won because it was under the understanding that it was so absurd that it couldn't possibly be true.
Yeah.
It has to look like that. But unfortunately, not everybody knows S.C. Cupp. And again, in the internet age, that could be posted without context. And I think it's very unfortunate. I think it's crude and degrading.
Yeah. Joe, are you disappointed in Hustler? Are they not the paragon of taste that we always thought they were?
You know, if you can't turn to Hustler magazine for reasoned political discourse, I don't know what this world's coming to. You have to keep in mind this is Hustler magazine and that their main mission has really been to gross people out. And I remember I was an adolescent during the heyday of print pornography. And Hustler was a magazine that when you got together with your friends and you swapped, oh, I'll trade you a Playboy.
Nobody wanted it.
Hustler was like, you can keep that.
Yes.
Because you'd open it up and you'd be like, oh, yeah, I want to look at naked. And you'd be like, oh, my God, I'm 14. I shouldn't see what that is.
Hustler was one of those things that when you found out somebody read it, it changed your image of them. I remember my sister was dating a guy, and he was going away to college, and he says, hey, do you want my magazines? Oh. And I go, I'm thinking, oh, Playboy or whatever. And he hands me this box, and I open it up, and I'm going, he can't be dating my sister. There are things in here that are just so. And by the way, Larry Flint created this amazing trick, convincing feminists that he was somehow on their side while denigrating women at every turn. I mean, the stuff in there, you know, you can say women have a choice to do this stuff, but they're actually, I always say, betting against their future. They're thinking like this is not going to affect them because nothing they're not going to be anything big
It
later.
never ends well. It
never ends
does not
well.
end
You do Hustler. You don't suddenly get married, have 3 kids.
Yeah.
I mean, Bill, you did Hustler in the 80s.
Well, I want to get back to this. So you're saying you returned the box, right? Yeah. Okay, I just want to be clear.
No, so my mother found the box, and it was so bad that she didn't even bring it up to me. I just came home, and it was gone, and I'm going, now my mother thinks I am the most disgusting person that ever lived. But Bill, here's the thing. Essie's a good friend of the show, and what should she do? Can't she do anything?
I'll tell you something. This morning, I looked at this Photoshop.
Don't do this again.
I looked at this Photoshop filth. I read the liberal bias underneath it. And you know what I did? The first thing I did, I emailed Essie and I said, congratulations. They do this to A-listers all the time. She has finally made it. And a buddy of mine said that one time he saw them doing the similar thing with Hillary Clinton. And I was like, oh, that's a good example to use. So I had the brain room look into it. They couldn't find it, but the fact of the matter remains, I had the Fox News brain room look up Hustler with Hillary Clinton for the entire morning. You're not going to get that from O'Reilly brain room.
Apparently now the National Organization of Women, I guess they were contacted by Beck's website if they would speak out against the photo, and I don't think they've responded yet. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. They have been actually responding faster now to when conservative women are smeared, but not to the speed that perhaps if it were somebody, like a Nancy Pelosi, or even if you went higher, which I won't even say that because it's disgusting. So, I don't know.
But again, they've been doing it for. I mean, they used to. Nixon was taking it up to what.
They used to have
I don't know.
They used to have they put it in the back end of a cow. They put somebody's face on it.
Yes.
But this is different because in the era of the web, that picture can exist without that other stuff.
Yeah.
And it could show up when you Google her. And I think she might have a case here.
Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start buying Club magazine instead. Forget Hustler, you're out.
Club.
Bust on my girl SC. I'm going with Club from now on.
Club, that brings back the era of Club, Swank, Gallery, Weed, Cherry, all those horrible magazines.
The era is still here.
I don't know.
As far as I'm concerned.
I don't know. It's when they were all back in one rack at the liquor store.
So, well, there was a 3-pack, the plaid pack.
Yes. Okay, can I bring up one point before we move on? The packages of porn in airport magazine plate. Who is buying pornography on a trip?
I've totally seen it. I have totally seen it.
Hardcore.
You know how the guys read it on the airplane? They put like People magazine on the outside, Hustler on the inside, and they think they're fooling someone.
I get that, but the thing is, can't you wait till you get home?
I have a buddy back in Chicago that is that guy, and he was in an airplane and brought porn with him, and they're like, there's children back there, could you throw it away? And he argued it. Long story short, this is the one friend of mine back home that is not married yet.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like patience.
Yeah.
Delayed gratification always works. Think about it on the flight. Then when you get home, debase yourself.
Somebody's going to think you're the underwear bomber if you it gets a lot of danger involved.
Exactly,
It's like you said, wait, delayed gratification.
Yeah.
Can we also just stop saying people who read Hustler?
Yes.
It's not really checking on
They tried to do
Norman Mailer
They tried to
articles.
do some journalism, but it wasn't very good.
Yeah.
It was sad. And their comics strips were actually. Why am I discussing this? This actually worked for them. We just gave them
Exactly
right. Oh, absolutely.
Just gave them 8
Yeah,
minutes.
right.
They tricked us. Damn them. All right.
Nobody reads it anymore.
Well, and as a suggestion for flyers out there, get grannies with fannies. From a distance, it looks like Reader's Digest.
All right. From
Hustler's awful Photoshop of SC Cupp. Okay, look, I know SC Cupp. SC Cupp and I are good friends. As far as I'm concerned, she probably collaborated with Hustler on this just to get more Twitter followers. More specifically, to end up with more Twitter followers than I have.
Oh, you are sad.
We know that's not true.
Don't
Apology to
fall for it,
follow.
America. Don't fall for it, America.
Apology will be
Look,
tomorrow by Andy Levy.
No, obviously I'm kidding.
Behave, Andy.
I'm totally kidding.
No,
But
I think you make some interesting points.
in all seriousness, don't follow her on Twitter.
Yeah. That was the fastest walk back anybody's ever done.
I wrote it with that.
Oh, you did?
I'm not stupid. I mean, I am, but I wasn't in that case. Bernard, you said this is another manifestation of the left's trashing of conservative women. But as Bill said, apparently this is a regular or semi-regular feature that Hustler does with famous women. So I think that while it was, obviously in this case, it was the trashing of a conservative woman, it's not like Hustler treats liberal women with class.
No, but they go. It's a history of attack. Like I remember specifically back in I think it was 1978, Jean Kirkpatrick and a cow.
Yeah.
And it was disgusting. It's always the theme is conservative women. I mean, let's
Yeah, and let's be clear, Andy. I can't believe I said let's be clear. Essie Cupp, God love her, is not a household name.
No,
so
I
they
agree.
had to search. They searched for a conservative woman to do it.
No, I agree.
They've run out of the Ann Coulters of the
Right.
world, and now they're
Right.
going for the Essie Cupps. So clearly they were looking for somebody.
Again, I don't disagree with that. I just like let's not pretend that they put liberal women on a pedestal unless it's doing something that's
But they don't attack
whatever.
Michelle Obama or others. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, for example. They wouldn't do that, obviously.
Oh God! Now I've got.
No, don't. No.
Oh, gosh.
Oof. Sandra, the Supreme Court case you were thinking of was Hustler Magazine v. Falwell. It was Jerry Falwell.
That's right.
Yep.
Thank you.
The court held in that case that a parody of Falwell was within the law because reasonable people wouldn't think it
Believe
was
that he did it.
factual.
Right.
So I'm assuming that holds here since they specifically said that it wasn't real, and probably she can't
They did
sue.
disclose that it wasn't real, but I
Yeah.
think Greg makes a solid point in that this picture could make it onto the internet without context, without the disclaimer, and that could be attached to her name anytime you Google it.
Yeah, but you know what'll still be there? Really awful Photoshop. So I have a feeling people will use their brain.
Again, I mean, obviously I'm not a lawyer. It just seems like she probably can't
But
sue,
again, she's not
is my
exactly
guess.
a household name as much as some of these
But she
other
is a
people may have been.
but she is a public figure.
That's true.
So it probably holds. I don't know. I mean, look, I'm all for her. If she can sue, do it.
Glenn Beck says she'll be the richest woman ever.
Yeah, well. Greg, you asked who's buying porn in an airport, and then you said, can't you wait till you get home? What if you're not going home, man?
I guess home is where the porn is.
What if you go to
needlepoint that.
You go to Cartagena and you need to be ready.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Joe, tell us more about this mythical 3-pack.
Oh, there's no myth about it. It's usually a plaid pack where the plaid is over the naughty bits, and it's a significant savings. I recommend it.
Is that right?
It's amazing that you buy your pornography in bulk.
Yes.
Really?
You know what? You can usually find it still sold in places that has their adult films in huge VHS boxes, about the size like you're buying Timberlands.
Yeah, why would they do that? Why would they? Would you make them smaller?
Teach you a lesson. That's why. See if you want this or not.